Hey everyone, welcome to Sketch a Day Live. Sorry for the last minute scramble there. I swear, like, sometimes I'll set up OBS and think everything's fine, it's all working. And then next thing you know, like, things just aren't working. So here we are. Happy Sunday. All right, I think we've got this now. I was just checking a couple of my scenes here. Let me know if you can't hear the music or if something's just different or weird. Happy to address that. All right, so today I wanted to talk and play around with some AI art tools with you a little bit different from what we normally do on the stream, and I'm really excited because I actually just gave a talk about AI tools. If you don't know what those are, we're going to be looking at Midjourney today. We're going to look at Stable Diffusion and another one called Vizcom.ai that I like for different reasons. And there are three different tools in a way. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that. We're not going to do our usual warm up. In addition to that, I had some requests to go over my brushes in Procreate. So if you still want to see that, cool. If not, I can put together a dedicated video about that this week, and I'm happy to talk about that as well. So happy Sunday, welcome. It is Sci-Fi Sunday, and I love all things sci-fi. So we're gonna do this a little differently. Like I said, I'm gonna have to share my screen and do some stuff I don't normally do. So let me get ready here. Let me know where you're watching from. I hope you're doing well. I'm gonna go watch Black Panther after this with my kids, and I'm excited for that. So yeah, all right. Now the one I'm least familiar with is Vizcom .ai, and I'll talk about each of these tools here in just a sec. Let me switch over. Hopefully this works. See, this isn't working. All right, I'm gonna have to chat with you while I set up my screen share. I don't know what happened, but like for some reason everything changed when I reopened OBS. It's really strange. So I think we're good though. Let's see. All right. Let's turn that off and let's go gadget switch. Boom. There we go. So now you can see my screen, see all my stuff. All right. Let's get rid of that notification. Okay, so we'll start with Midjourney because I think that's one that people might be somewhat familiar with. So Midjourney is it's one of these new AI systems that you can use. So let me hide my bookmarks here, and then oops. Why is this not working? Okay, this is very strange. I don't know what's happening today. Okay, anyhow, Midjourney. Let's go right there. All right, so if you go to Midjourney here, this is kind of the website. And so if you go and you're curious about AI tools and you're like, whoa, what is happening? This is what you're going to be presented with. So don't freak out too much if you see this. This is just their website. And so you can sign in, join the beta, hit getting started, and it'll give you a quick start guide. So there is no interface on the website as far as I know. Okay. I'm just getting started myself. I'm just playing with the tools, and I'm actually really excited. And I have a few ideas of how this can fit into my personal workflow. So we're going to take a look at a little bit of sci-fi brainstorming and painting. We're going to take a look at product design as well, because I'm a product designer. All right. And just kind of go over some of the interface for y'all here. Okay. So the way you interact with Midjourney primarily is through Discord. You have to join their Discord. Once you join, there's a bunch of different channels that you can join. All right. There's even prompts chat, so you can get ideas for prompts, things that you can do. Here's a showcase for paint overs, so people painting over AI art, which is something I want to talk about and that I'm personally really excited about because you can get a lot of inspiration there. There's work in progress, all sorts of stuff. So really great community. I haven't even explored all of it yet. What I like to do is play with the newbie channels here So the way it works is you simply type imagine, and I'm paying for Midjourney right now, so I can generate a certain number of images per month, like high-res images per month. I think it's like 200 or something like that. I can certainly change that if I want to pay more and be unlimited. Sorry, I have my laptop open as well, and so I'm getting, hold on, let's turn hiding on here. Perfect. All right, so here's the whole window. So I can type imagine. So let's start with something simple, something product design related. You know I love sketching shoes, so let's imagine a street, urban. So you basically enter adjectives here. So street, urban, shoe, Adidas, brand. You can enter things like color, so orange, teal. You can say features like laces, straps, zipper, comfortable. We could enter other materials as well, mesh, leather. And then you have to kind of describe like how you want it to look. So I can do product photography, white background. One thing I like to, you can pull certain cues from the internet, so certain styles. So if I want to say like I want this to look like it was done on ArtStation, or I want this to look like it was done in Unreal Engine, we can type that in too. So we can go Unreal Engine 5 HDRI, detailed. Let's see. We can start there. So this is what's called a prompt, and I'm just gonna go ahead and highlight this and copy my prompt for now and hit enter. And so when I hit enter, right, it sends it off to the Midjourney bot, and this is going to start generating an image, right? There's other people entering things as well, so you'll see other images here. I'll try and focus on mine. So this is mine right here, and it's kind of starting like to envision what this looks like, right? I entered the prompt, and I made a typo here. Adidas brand. All right, so I'm gonna redo this because I know it's not gonna give me what I want. So /imagine, paste, and let's go ahead and enter this. And I want to change this to athletic style sneaker shoe, because this isn't quite what I'm after here, right? And this is weird. Like some of the stuff the AI does, like it does have a hard time sometimes with proportion and placement, which is why I think this particular tool for me is more of an inspiration tool than like trying to come up with the final version of something. Okay, so we can massage the prompt, right? And let's go. I'm not sure if the prompt is arranged in terms of priority, right? And this is like the creation process. You have to type, you have to figure out what it is you're trying to say exactly, right? I can say stitches. Let's see, what else might I want to put in there? I don't know yet. Sometimes you don't know what else you might want to tweak until you put it in. So I'm gonna hit enter now. Well, I'm gonna copy this first. I like to copy my prompts so I don't have to retype it. And certainly while it's working, you can do other things. So I'm gonna hit enter here, and it's gonna generate an idea for me, a concept. The cool thing about this is it's kind of like having a coworker that can challenge your assumptions and give you additional ideas that you may not have thought of, right, as you go. Plus you're in a community of people that are entering prompts as well. So we can all kind of riff off each other. Like I might see, all right, there's Unreal Engine 5. Oh wait, that's me. All right, so this is giving me a bit more of what I think I was after. I can kind of tell based on this fuzzy pre-render here that I'm getting. All right, you can see some of the other art that people have created as well. So I think it does have a place in product design, and I'll explain kind of what these controls are under each image as well. All right, so let's see here. It is a little bit jumpy. So here's mine, and you can kind of see the percentage. Once it's done, it drops to the bottom of the page. So I can click on this image now, and I can look at these and go, oh, this is kind of interesting. All right, this is kind of interesting. I can riff on these, okay, or we can tweak the prompt, and I'm going to tweak the prompt a little bit here. So imagine, all right, and I want to say imagine athletic style sneaker shoe, urban styling, mid length or mid height. Let's see what that does. So I'm trying to pull, my computer is like chugging because I have two AI tools running in the background, so I'm gonna close these for now because I can tell it's chugging a little bit. All right, and I'm streaming at the same time. I thought this Mac Pro would do it, but here we are. Anyhow, so I can type all this in: mid-height, leaves brand, orange, teal. Maybe I want to switch this to orange and I don't know, yellow, orange, teal. No, I'll just leave it there. Laces, strap, zipper, comfortable outsole. Mesh leather, product photo style. I'm gonna say Canon 50 millimeters just for the photo reference there. Perspective 3/4 view. All right, so perspective 3/4 view, athletic style, sneaker shoes, street, urban styling, mid height. So you kind of keep playing with this, massaging it, seeing what you get. All right, we're gonna push that button and wait for it to start. So my hope is that we can come up with something, and I'll show you what I think anyways we can use this for. So hope you're having, what is this, quick switch. Hope you're having a happy Sunday here. Let me add the rest of these. All right, we do have our Sketch A Day Discord as well that you can join. So this is interesting. All right, so if you go to there's a website for another AI tool called DALL-E, which uses stable diffusion as well. Midjourney is a little bit different, independent of that, but it does explain kind of how this upscaling resolution stuff is happening and taking place. All right, so maybe I don't love this, so I'm gonna switch this up a little bit. Let's see what we get. / imagine. And the other see, I have some typos here. Athletic style sneaker shoe. Okay, let's see. Let's tweak this prompt here. If any of y'all, I don't see anyone chatting, but if any of y'all played with this before, tried it out, had any results, I'm curious. All right, so let's see here. I'm gonna hit enter. Oh, prompt this option is please specify. Okay. Ew. All right, let's redo this. Okay, there we go. Oops. I made a mistake at the end, but let's see what it does here. Yeah, you should try it out. I think it's a great tool so far. Again, I think this exercise today will confirm my suspicions, but I haven't spent that much time with the tools personally. I've also been playing around with Gravity Sketch a little bit. But it is interesting. It is interesting, right? And I'll show you one of the cool things you can do here. I'm actually going to copy this prompt, and I'm going to use this in another app in the background on my laptop, so I can get ahead of the curve a little bit here. And y'all don't have to wait too long. Okay, so this is 93% done. I don't really have anything here I might want to use. Maybe this top left one here is kind of interesting, but it's kind of out of frame. So let's go ahead, and there's a button you can hit. Okay, so there's a couple rows of buttons here. My little thumbnail is obscuring, so I'm gonna move myself up here. So there's this little button here. There's U1, U2, U3, U4. That just means upscale any of these images. So I could upscale the first image and you'll see a higher resolution version of that. Or I can hit version 1, version 2, version 3, version 4. All right. And I'm going to hit version 1. My other AI tool is pumping out some other options here. So I'm going to go ahead and keep generating some stuff on my laptop so I can show you as well. So, and this is all happening in the cloud, at least with Midjourney. So let's see, did I click that button? I didn't. All right, so version 1. Okay, so now it's going to send that job off to the server, making variations. So it's going to do some work and vary. We got a question here. Do you think they'll replace designers in the future when it's more functional? I don't know if about replace, but it's going to make our jobs a hell of a lot easier. I'll tell you what. In this case, there's some things I don't personally understand about the app. So for example, here I'm getting some versions of the shoe right now, and they're all in square. Okay, so I can't see the rest of the shoe. So I might redo this prompt. Okay, you can just hit this refresh button and it's gonna re-roll this whole prompt. All right, so that's something you can do, but at least you have some variation. So what's interesting is, again, you might see like, oh, there's different ways to think about closure. And obviously this isn't like perfect. It's not to the point where, you know, any of this stuff is manufacturable, but it is interesting. It is interesting because there are things like color breaks that I may not have thought of. So that's why I see this as more of a, whoa, this one's wild, that I got on my laptop here. I wish I could show you, but I can't very easily. So I'm gonna have this generate again, and I'll show you some of those options. We'll talk about this other tool as well. So I could even say, you know what, let's go ahead and let me tweak this prompt again. I know we're spending a lot of time on this shoe. It's what, 18 minutes already? But without having to explain, right? You could sit here and just like come up with different ideas. All right, so I'm gonna say take out some of this stuff and just see what it comes up with. Hey Adriana, good to see you. I'm happy to go over brushes as well. In Procreate, I was just talking about some AI art tools, and this one is Midjourney that we're playing with today. My whole setup has been kind of messed up, so I'm like redoing my OBS, which is my camera setup on the fly. Okay, so here's another generated set of ideas. I wish I could find the other ones I did. But I'll show you some of what my other computer comes up with here in just a sec. All right, let's do imagine urban sneaker shoe, Adidas brand, red, white, straps. Simple design, waterproof, and let's just see what that comes up with. Maybe I'll simplify the prompt and see. I have tried Stable Diffusion. I'll talk about that one next, and then I'm going to talk about Vizcom.ai as well, which is another tool that you can use. Have you been playing with that, Adriana? All right, so this is interesting. You can kind of see a fuzzy picture of what you're going to get here. All right, so let's go ahead and version. I kind of like this top left one, so I'm going to go ahead and version the top left once that's done. And like I said at the beginning, I've been playing with Gravity Sketch a little bit this week too. So really trying to get into the tools and see if it can help accelerate creativity. So let's go ahead and version the first one here and see what we come up with. Okay, so how to download Stable Diffusion. I'll show you in the meantime. So if you have a Mac, there's this really cool app called Diffusion B. It's actually free. And if you have an M1 MacBook Pro, like, it's insanely fast, insanely good with what it can do. So you can check that out. You just want to make sure that you don't have a lot of apps open that are sucking up a lot of memory and all that stuff. But otherwise, yeah, I mean, even with the app running full bore in the background here, I think this is where if you have something like an M1 Max chip, if you have something like an M1 Max chip with the better GPU, it might have better performance. But in this case here, it runs just fine. So anyhow, you can, sorry, I was looking at my laptop and talking. You can download it for, I think you can download it for PC. I'm not sure. Let's see. Stable Diffusion PC. Let's see what we find now. How to run on your PC. Okay. Looks like you have to install a bunch of stuff. So you have to install Git, Miniconda 3, and then download the repository, and then set it up, and then you're able to use it. So on a Mac anyways, there's this nice app with a GUI that you can enter stuff in. Let me check on my render request here. All right, there we go. So now you can see there's variations. I like variation 4 here, so I'm gonna hit V4 and let it process again. And then we're gonna have a shoe, and then I'll pull that into Procreate, maybe talk about some of my brushes, and then we'll get back to the app. They do have AI image generation apps for iPad and iOS as well. You could try DALL-E. DALL-E does use, it's effectively, it's very similar to Diffusion B, because it's running on Stable Diffusion, same thing. The difference is with Diffusion B, it's running on your local machine, whereas DALL-E, so this is what we're talking about here. DALL-E 2 is based on OpenAI, and this runs on a server. So it has more capabilities for sure. Like in this case, it can expand on an image and show what might be in the scene, which is kind of insane if you think about it. Or compose, modify, and add things to an image as well. Here we go. Right, give you different versions of the same character, same person in a painting. And the thing with AI art is oftentimes, I think the more realistic it tries to be, the more weird it feels. So that's something to consider. But yeah, you can play with DALL-E as well. Let's see. You can sign up for it here. I haven't signed up for DALL-E yet. All right, create an account, all that stuff. So I do like Diffusion B because I think for where I see the tool fitting into my workflow, it makes sense. And I see it as an idea generation tool. Okay. So I can take a look at these now and go, all right, this is really interesting. I mean, pretty expected per se. So let me do another one here, and then we'll talk about some other stuff. Let's see what it comes up with. Imagine urban sneaker shoe, high top, Adidas brand, red accents, straps, simple design, waterproof. I like the comfortable prompt, so let's see. 3/4 view, in frame. Let's see. Perspective. All right. Let's see what we come up with. We'll get into some sci-fi stuff here in a minute. Don't worry. So maybe the most frustrating. I think I've got some good. I've got two options I can work with here. I can kind of tell. So we'll see where they go. So the thing with Midjourney I don't like is there is no in painting, meaning I can't paint something and then say, hey, make something out of it, right? And I'll show you the difference between this and say Vizcom.ai in just a bit. But we're gonna remix this one here. And then I'll use this as part of a sketch. All right, so let's remix 1, 2, 3, V3. Oops. See what we come up with. Did that go in? That did not go in. My computer is being really slow right now. Which is weird because I have tons of memory on this machine. Okay, Namit, that's interesting. Un humanoide cubierto en todo su cuerpo con túnica con. So it'll even interpret Spanish, which is fascinating. Okay, so let's go ahead and open. Let's see. Let's do Diffusion B first, since we're kind of in this realm. We'll do some sci-fi stuff, and then oh man. My other computer came up with like actual usable concepts. So I think I'm going to use this one. I'll send it over to my desktop here so y'all can see it. Woo! Okay. You're going to be blown away by this, I think. All right, I'm going to send this over to myself. Hold please. Let's go ahead and airdrop this. All right, boom. Okay. So this is Diffusion B. It's loading up right now. I would say it doesn't seem to work as well on Mac computers. All right, so we got some good options here now. Right, so we can click on this image, take a look at what we have, and then decide, oh, which one of these might I want to upscale or remix. I'm going to remix, I think, this one here, because it doesn't feel as overwhelming as the others. So we'll do V3. Trying to figure out what's slowing down my computer here. It might just be the fact that I opened Diffusion B. So in this case, I can. Diffusion B is a little bit interesting too because you can put an image back into it. So I can generate some stuff right here and let that run in the background. Hey Tom, how you doing? Apparently you can write the prompts in Spanish. Yeah, someone did that on the Midjourney Discord here. So I'm paying $10 a month. Have I had much thought in making your own IRL utensils? No, not yet, but that was a good idea. I've thought about it in the past, honestly. Like I've thought about, see, I like this one here on the bottom, right? This one's also interesting too. So I'm going to go ahead and upscale 4. Yeah, my computer is like chugging. I don't think I can run this on my, okay, hold up. Hold please. I don't think I can run this on my desktop the same time I'm streaming and doing all this other stuff. So I'm going to stop this. It's like my computer is dying. Woo! Okay, I'm going to close this down. I was struggling there. Hey, Lori. Good to see you. I was here. Was I here last week? No, I think I missed last week, but yeah, I've been back. Sorry I missed your event. I will try next time you're up this way. We're talking about AI art, image generation. So here's one, for example. So I'm going to go ahead and let's see. Let's save this image. I guess I can open the original and then just copy the image. And I'm going to paste it into Procreate, which will give me a chance to talk about my brushes. I know Adriana had some questions about brushes in Procreate. So I'm going to go ahead and set that up in the background while we take a look at some stuff here. So I think it was that one, and let's see. I wanted to see versioning of 2 because 2 is really interesting there. Okay. So yeah, I'll show you on my iPad here in a sec how I might use some of the images that are generated. Good timing, working on some sketches in Procreate. Awesome, awesome. All right, so now we're starting to see some versions here, right? So even things I may not even have thought of, like this whole layering thing is really interesting, or just how clean this is here. So the way I see using these tools, like I said, I'm gonna go ahead and close this down for now. I don't know why my computer is bugging out, but the way I see using these tools is really just as a help for idea generation. So in the case of something like Procreate here, I've opened the app, and I do have brushes available on my website, like I mentioned a while back. So feel free to check those out if you're interested. That's on sketchaday.com right here. And you can see all these assets are just chilling. There's also a little section, by the way. I added a little section about my book. So if you're interested and you want to pre-order the book, you can check it out. There's a couple pages and just a little bit of a blurb for you. But anyhow, back to the website. Procreate brushes. There's Brush Pack 2, Brush Pack 1. You can always check that out. And you'll see 2 comes with about 30 brushes. I think 1 comes with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, like 8 or 9 brushes, something like that. So I think 2 is the better deal, personally. But yeah, feel free to check that out. Okay, so back to Procreate here. So how do you use AI art generation tools? Well, they're not perfect right now. They're not at all. So I'm gonna take this layer and I'll slide it down. And then what I want to do is now on top of this, probably make some design decisions. These are my brushes. My go-to is the Spencil. All right, so this is just a general line brush, right? So here's where I might start to say, I want to make some changes here. There's one strap. I've got this interesting line. It's kind of coming down. So I think for me personally, this is where AI and human can work together. I think it's rare that you're gonna type something in. So far in my experience anyways, it's rare that you're gonna type something in and just get exactly what you want. But in this case, right, I can take like even this line and say, what if the tooling were split that way? That's really interesting. So as an aid for idea generation, absolutely fantastic. And we'll take some of the colors. Don't worry, we'll take the colors and leverage this in our quick sketch render here. All right. What if we have this like really weird piece that comes forward? I don't know. Feels like that should actually be a tongue on the shoe or something. Maybe there's this, I'm stealing from this other AI idea that popped up too, where we had like a double kind of layering. So I see, hopefully you can kind of see how I'm making some judgment calls here on like what to include. Right, there's the kind of peak of my shoe there. So I'm gonna simplify this out like so. Maybe have another layer there. Bring this down. I did say simple tooling, and that's what I got. But I could always, go back to Midjourney and take this image and input it. In fact, what I may do while we're waiting here is actually, okay, boom, there we go. What I may do while we're waiting is take this image and put it into another, how would I show, I'm trying to figure out how to show my laptop working in the background. Okay, let's open Diffusion B again. Hopefully it doesn't crash my entire world and wreck my life. Fourth one is more interesting to develop. Yeah, so you can pick any of them for sure, and then develop as you go. But it's really just a process of like, you go in. Let's see, you said the fourth one, which is, I didn't have my screen share on, sorry. This one right here with the layers. Yeah, that's really interesting. But like for me to sketch a shoe, I can sketch it in perspective, but at the same time, like it would be a lot, it'd be harder to come up with something creative if I didn't have the help, right? So you can kind of see how I'm pulling from these lines, at least in my iPad sketch here. Now going back to, whoa, what is happening? I lost my mouse cursor. Okay, there it is. Now, going back to my screen share here. So this is Diffusion B. Okay, this is the app right here. And I can generate based on a prompt what I want to do. Or there's this thing called image to image. So I could take like, say, where is it? This image. Let's go ahead and save this to my downloads. I'm gonna save that. And now I could go back to this app, Diffusion B, and I can go to downloads and, oh, it's saved as a WebP image, which is really annoying. So I'm just gonna screenshot this. Go to Diffusion B and I'm just gonna drag this in. Okay, that's not working. So let's go ahead and add the image from desktop is where it'll be. Come on, don't do me like that. Don't do me like that. It's just one of those days with technology, I swear. Just one of those days. All right, let's go back and hit add my desktop. There you are. So I can now put this into the AI and have the AI go, all right, let's process this. I'm going to pick some options here and I'm going to, let's see, input strength. This is probably going to wreck my system, but Diffusion B is based on Stable Diffusion, like DALL-E is based on Stable Diffusion. So it's just a matter of the interface and what you're doing. But I'm going to copy the same prompt that I used before. And I'm going to put that prompt in here. You better work. I swear. Also, good to see you, Sticky. Okay, there we go. So now I put the prompt in and I can hit generate. But like I said, this is probably going to wreck my computer. My mouse is going to start moving slow. So in the meantime, I'll jump to my iPad Pro and we'll keep working on this one. Okay. My iPad was upside down. So I might make some tweaks as we do this, but super helpful, I think, if you are trying to come up with something different, right? I just don't think it's to the point yet. Maybe it'll get there, but I don't think it's to the point yet where it's like perfect or going to give you exactly what you want. So this is where I think it's still important. It's still important to have some traditional skills, or at least an understanding of traditional skills, so you can then decide what am I gonna do with this thing that I got? What am I gonna do with it? I'm totally bungling these laces, by the way, but just like the AI did, but just enough for a hint. So maybe we have one strap here. We got another strap here. Maybe this one actually comes down to in our upper dips into the tooling. All right, so we can dream a little bit. Dream a little bit bigger, darling. But that's something that I probably wouldn't have thought of myself. So again, I see the value of this more so in idea generation than I do in creating a finished product. But I can understand why people are excited, because even the photo reference that was created was pretty good. It was pretty good in the sense that it presented things in a way that I just probably wouldn't have thought of. And I can now take this layer up the opacity a bit, and now on top of this start to make some painting decisions. So going back to the brushes, most of the time, Adriana, I'm using like my real marker or a smooth clean marker brush. I'm just going to use this real marker brush here and kind of just paint in using the colors that the AI gave me. So I don't have to think about the colors so much, the lighting and whatnot. We can just pick these colors and kind of just paint over here, fix things as we go. So understanding how to draw, how to manipulate tools is going to be important. I'm going to take this black actually and just go ahead and paint this in too. And this is all on top of the painting that was done underneath. So I'm just pulling these colors and using them to kind of fix as we go. Right. Anything I don't want in there, add some clarity, real loose. So imagine a future where you do have a computer or system or server that's capable of like processing 50 of these or 100 of these at the same time, right? So you could just say, hey, here's what I want, and come back in, 10 minutes, and you've got hundreds of ideas or concepts that you can play with. I think that's pretty cool. So that's where I see the promise and potential of all of this. Okay, so the marker brush I like because it does have the ability for some buildup and blending, right? What I mean by that is it's quite literally, let's do this on a new layer. It's quite literally like a marker in the sense that it does have that buildup to a point, and I can shade in like so if I want. I actually did a drawing once where I used the marker brush alone entirely. Let's see if I can find it here. I'm not very organized, so apologies, but I do want to show it to you. Where are you? So this is where I think a search function in Procreate would be awesome. This is like one of my least favorite things about Procreate. The fact that I'm unorganized and the fact that it's hard to find things when I want to, because I can't like just type in something unless I'm missing a new feature that was released. So, which is entirely possible. Entirely possible. Oh, here we go. No? Oh, there it is. So I did this sketch with just the marker brushes in Procreate, right? So you kind of get that natural look and feel that you might be after. It is a huge time saver. Absolutely. Okay, so this has been running in the background. I'm going to have it do a couple more options here. Let's get back to our Adidas sketch that we were doing right here. So I'll just take some of these colors now and just saturate them. Let's go back to our color layer here. Just kind of paint these in. You know, maybe I do want these to be red after all. Get some of this white. All right, so I got my 3 straps there now. And now I want to do like maybe a deeper red. Let's do this on the layer below. Pretty cool, right? So I think for me, that's how I would use the tools, more so than trying to put something into the app and crossing your fingers and saying, I hope I get what I want, because I think that's less likely so far. I think the technology is going to get better to where you will see people being able to just type in what they want and just getting that thing. But as of right now, oh yeah, this is totally affecting the stream. I'm gonna stop my render here. Okay, stop. All right, whoo. Oh, that was like killing my computer. So I'm gonna stop that, and then let's go screen share. You can kind of see. So I took this image, put it into the AI with the prompt. Look at this. This is like really interesting, right? Really interesting what it came up with. So again, just those shapes, whatnot. And I think using like Photoshop on a desktop that's not also streaming and doing like 5 things at the same time, including running a local AI, would yield better results, right? So really, really interesting stuff here. Okay, so I'm gonna close this out. The cool thing is it does remember what you're doing. So if I want to tap on this later, actually there's a history here, and you can kind of see a history of things that were created in the app. So I can always go back, and then if I want to modify that. There's also in painting, so you can input an image, draw a mask, right? And there's out painting. Image to image is what I was using. So you can cross pollinate from different AI tools, systems, to then just see what they come up with, right? Really exciting stuff. Okay, I'm gonna show you another image that I created. Since this is like super laggy, and I did promise some sci-fi stuff, so if you have any prompts that you want me to try, let me know, and I'll run them on my laptop and just drop them onto my computer here. Let's see, let's send this to Eardrop on my Mac Pro. I think I need a Mac Studio or something if I'm gonna do this, but really interesting though, how you can like, you know, oops, you can get in here and just get some quick ideas. At least I'm excited about it. I don't know if y'all are, but the first time I saw specifically it was like, I'm not being very disciplined in my layers, but it was the app I want to show you next, which is Vizcom.ai, because that one's even trippier for those who like to draw or be in control of what you're doing. All right, it's almost like there's a continuum of control with regards to these apps. Like, how much do you want to be in charge of? Midjourney feels like hands off the wheel for the most part. Same with basically the same with any text-based input system. Just feels like hands off the wheel. You get what you want, and that's it. But there's also Vizcom.ai, which, let's see, let's go back to Spencil. And Adriana, I know this isn't a full rundown. I was saying at the beginning of the stream that I could probably do like a dedicated video, and that may be a good way of addressing any questions that you have about the brushes themselves. So yeah, the AI isn't going to, it's kind of like when you're talking to someone, you're trying to explain a concept verbally. They may not understand what you actually mean and what you're thinking of in your head. And so you have to do the extra work to get what you want. That's the way I see it with these systems specifically. So don't be surprised if you're like, oh man, I keep typing this in and it's just not giving me what I want. Right? But even this concept, like I said, isn't something I normally would have come up with. Or the other concepts that were generated as well. Okay, how are we on time? We're good. I'm gonna show you Vizcom.ai real quick. And let me just close this out on my computer. And hopefully Vizcom does not cause me to crash here. Let's move some stuff on my desktop because I do have to use my Wacom tablet. Oh, no, I was going to show you. I just remembered what I was going to show you. I was going to show you these. All right, so this is one that I created on my laptop. I just typed in flying octopus robot. And this is what it came up with. Like, how cool is that? So it's a similar thing where I could take this, paint over it now, or take this image, put it back into the AI system, and then see what it comes up with. Things like this variation. I'm not sure if this one was first or second. This is a thumbnail I used today, but this is something I generated on my laptop as well, right? In a matter of minutes or seconds, I guess, frankly. So the possibilities are just awe-inspiring and staggering, I think, for artists, because this just takes it. It's not an image that I would use as a final image for anything, but it does make the process a lot easier, right? So for people like Lori, imagine typing in fashion design prompts and seeing what it comes up with. Maybe you'll get some inspiration, right? So this is Vizcom.ai. This is the app here. I was trying to have this render a sketch, and I'm not as familiar with the app as I am with the others. So let's try and create a new file here. But the idea basically is that you can say free draw. See, I don't even know how to adjust my brush size. Let's see. Brush size. There we go. All right, so now I can draw. Yeah. I need to access my keyboard too. All right, so it's kind of like a drawing app. So it's like I'm working in tandem with the AI, right? And so whatever I draw shows up on this canvas. Okay, so let's switch my color here, and I'm going to draw the silhouette of something. I don't know what yet, but let's just play around for a bit. Well, maybe I'll just do a car, because that's kind of what I do when I'm feeling brainless and just want to draw something, especially to just kind of show you guys. So I'm just gonna get the basics in here, and then we're gonna add some tone and a few other things. And when I say basics, I mean like literally this is how much I might sketch in, right? Actually, let's go ahead and just shade this in, and then I'll use, see, I don't even know if there's a paint bucket tool. So silhouette, okay? Even if this is all you can figure out. And then now I'm gonna change the value, and and put in like maybe some reflections, hint at a wheel here. I'm just basically trying to guide the AI as to what I'm trying to do. Right, maybe this is going to be a grill. This is another feature there. I've got my windows maybe blocked out, some sort of mirror. All right, that's enough. So I've got a sketch. So who is this? Let's go ahead and report. And then I'm going to hide this person. Okay, cool. All right, so this is all you may need to draw. And then now I can do 3D rendering. See, I don't know the best prompts for the app, so this is part of the problem. But let's go. 3D rendering of a, let's do the visual editor. 3D render of a, let's see, car. Let me type that in. So I want to do a 3D render of a car, design concept rendered in a real engine, and I'm going to do style. Let's do we want it to be a cyberpunk car? How about cyberpunk? And then lighting, let's do studio lighting, and we can do trending on ArtStation, and let's see what we come up with. So the cool thing about this tool is it will take your image, and then by image I mean this very, very loosely defined sketch, and then turn it into something. All right, so here's what it came up with so far. All right, so I'm gonna go back to text, and let's do 3D rendering of a sports car, or car coupe. Design concept rendered in Unreal Engine 5. Maybe we don't do cyberpunk. I'm gonna put commas in here. I don't know why it didn't put the commas in automatically, but let's do shiny, chrome, teal accent, and I'm gonna crank the image influence up. Oops, got these weird marks in here. Okay, now we hit generate. So with this tool, it feels more like I'm somewhat in control. Okay, I'm somewhat in the driver's seat. So even something like, hey, you know, these wheels aren't really what I want. So, because the AI seems to be struggling a little bit. So let's go ahead and draw in a wheel shape. And like I said, I haven't played with this one super long, but I do like the potential of being able to basically tell it what you want. All right, we change some of those shapes and so on. Oh, you know what? I should have said BMW. 3D of a BMW. Car coupe concept. And oops. Let's go back to brush. And you can just draw along and see what you come up with, right? So in this case, maybe I do want to add a little bit more direction that I'm going to give the AI. I can hit generate. And all the previews you're seeing are right here, right? Right there. So this one actually, let's see. Can't see a preview of it bigger. I don't think, but let's go ahead and download this. All right, but I can use this image now and say generate again, and it's going to use this as reference, or I can throw it into my other AI app. I don't know why it's not download. Oh, there it is. So I can save this. So you can kind of see the more I hit generate, it's just reusing that image, reusing what it did, and it's assuming that this is a bit closer to what I want. Here's the one it came up with, and that's literally just from that sketch, right? No, it's not perfect. It's not perfect, but that's okay, because this gets me really close. Really close. Like, I've done renderings that take hours and hours to get the lighting right, and sometimes it's hard to remember all the concepts and what you want things to look like. Here's another version that it created. I'm just going to do a standard quality export here. Let's call this render A. Not really caring too much. So we can hit generate again, but I'm going to crank the influence up and let's see what happens. Whoa, it's just getting crazier and crazier. Okay, so I can download this. I'm going to download this as a standard quality export. I'm going to send it to my laptop. I'm going to let my laptop process in the background with the same prompt on a different application and see what I come up with. All right, so there's one. Here's another one. All right, so you could even throw this into, say, Photoshop. I'm actually going to do the, let's see, let's go back to this one, and I'm going to do the high res after all. Hey, Robro. We're just playing with some AI tools today. I know it's not the usual me drawing stuff from scratch, but I've had a few people ask, and so I just wanted to take some time, take a look at it. Do I do sketches on a computer a lot? Yes, I do. Let's go share, airdrop, and we'll send this to my laptop. Boom. Once my laptop gets it, then so again, here's the iPad, right? Able to come up with a really interesting, different concept, all because of that AI tool. Okay, so now I've got it on my laptop. Again, you can't see this, but I'll show you in the meantime, though. Here's one of the concepts my laptop came up with while we were talking earlier. Nope, not that one. This one. So my laptop came up with that. I just typed in Adidas urban shoe, right? It got the label wrong. But you could throw this into Photoshop. Okay, fix the laces, sketch over this. You've got a really interesting urban style, like shoe with interesting color breaks. Maybe this is some inspiration for the medial side of the shoe. Look at the tooling. How interesting is that? Isn't this somewhat similar to ours day to day we already see? Yes, but my point is, in the ideation process, as a human, you're only operating from what you see. So we use image boards, we come up with or we have experiences, we have maybe things that we've bought and so on, but it's hard to just sit down unless you're in the weeds of shoe design. You're not going to come up with this stuff on your own. It's just not going to happen. So sure, it's what you might see, but you're not going to come up with it as quickly as this app was able to come up with it, right? So I'm going to put this into my image to image here on my laptop, the BMW, I should say. And I'm going to let that run in the background for a bit. Hold up. Where'd you go? All right. I'm going to copy the prompt that I used in Vizcom, right? Because you can always copy the prompt and then just put it into another app and see what it comes up with. All right, so it's just going to run in the background. So to your point, yes, it is something you technically could come up with, but it's not that far, right? The laces are a little wonky. You've got tongue. You've got there's things that you'd have to work out specifically right in this area right here, but it's not that far off. I mean, the tooling. I mean, this is fire, like Sticky said right here. All of this right here. Woo! That's fire. So your question though, Mr. Sanson, is interesting because it does bring up a point, which is these AI systems are pulling from they're pulling from the same repository of images and understanding of human culture and all of that, right? So it's in some ways random, and this is just my understanding based on conversations I've had. It's somewhat random as designers, illustrators, and so forth. It's like you're gonna have to become very good at putting in the prompts for what you want. So I could take this shoe again. Oh man, I'm gonna show you. I gotta show you this car. So let's go ahead. I'm just gonna stop because this one is just dope. So I'm gonna upscale this image. I'm gonna send it over to my laptop here, and this was just working as I was talking. Okay. Let's save this to my downloads, and I'm gonna go ahead and send this over to my. I know this is like kludgy me. Well, actually, I can just copy and paste to my iPad. What am I doing? I should be able to do that. Yep, I should be able to do that. So this is the BMW, like crazy cyberpunk, whatever, crazy colored version. Okay, it's enough for me, especially if you're someone who isn't used to drawing cars. I'm just gonna group these together. Oh, why did I do that? I didn't group them together. I merged them. All right. Let's group these, and then I'll hide the group. All right. So kind of like we did with the shoe, this is where, and yes, Mr. Sanson, I think it's a tool. The initial reaction I had was, holy crap, it's over. We're going to be irrelevant in no time. But I don't see that happening. So again, for general purposes of sketching, we've got the stencil here. There's a dirty stencil, the rough stencil 1 and 2. I'm just gonna use the rough one here, just for variety's sake. But here, for example, if you're someone who maybe struggles with drawing cars, right? There's some corrections I'm gonna make. Like the AI decided to put the kidney bean shape there. Maybe that's what we want. BMW's been using a much more aggressive shape, so I could even tweak that a little bit. And this could also be just a guide for how you might stretch, transform, and place these colors to create the car design that you actually want. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's more of a Photoshop thing. All right, so I can take some of these. Oh, that's a nice little line there. And oh, this vent is just like obscene. It is obscene, but we're gonna roll with it. So yeah, really good point, Sticky. I just think it's another tool. I think it's another help. I think it's an opportunity for us to look at things differently as artists, as visual creators, because ultimately, as you can see, I'm still making judgments along the way as to how I want to draw this thing. Okay, I'm still making those judgments, those calculations. I'm still just using this as inspiration because the AI tools are not perfect. Don't worry, you're not going to lose your day job just yet. But I do envision a future in which, yeah, it is going to be much better, right, at figuring out objects and shading and come with renderings and so on. It's just not there yet, but it's going to happen. That much I know. So, as I said earlier, technical knowledge is still going to be important because I could not do this without some technical knowledge, some technical expertise. There are things I might change, like, for example, stylistically, if I were drawing this as a car design sketch, I would probably make the front a little bit wider, right, just to tweak things a bit. I would probably shave a little bit off the top as well for perspective purposes, but the AI is not going to pick up on that stuff, right? Who owns the copyright to the output? That's a fantastic question, and that's very uncertain right now. There was a little bit of chat at this conference that I was a part of, and we were talking about that. Like, yeah, who's gonna own that copyright, right? Are designers gonna get in trouble if we use an AI system that's pulling from all these like different areas of inspiration and then create something? Maybe, but I hope not. Here's an interesting scenario though. What if you could train an AI in your own style to do work on your behalf and get you 80% of the way there, or even 60% of the way there? How cool would that be? It's like, here's the stuff I like. Here's some image boards that I've created. Generate 50 concepts for me. Think about how that's going to change your creative output and how you come up with stuff, right? So in the same sense, right? As far as copyright, okay. How do as a designer, if I'm pulling image inspiration from the web and I have a Pinterest board, does that mean that I don't have the rights to use that stuff as inspiration? I don't know. Copyright's a little bit different because in the sense that Stable Diffusion does create the image, if you use the raw image, yeah, I think you're violating some sort of copyright, especially if Stable Diffusion does own, right, the IP or copyright related to the works that it creates. That makes sense. But if I'm taking that and using it as inspiration, like I am here in this sketch, I'm making some changes as we go. I'm saying, wow, I hadn't really thought of this line. I'm not saying I'm going to put this in my design, but I'm like, I haven't thought of this line, right? Maybe that's something I want to emphasize in my design. Cool. I'm not using the entirety of image. I'm then using Stable Diffusion as a means of inspiration. That's the way I see it. I don't know if that holds up in any legal framework. I'm not giving legal advice as an attorney or anything like that, but it's an interesting question for sure, I think. But it can help you speed up the process of ideating or sketching or what have you. And then cross-pollinating from apps, like I said, is a really interesting opportunity. So I'm gonna take this Adidas shoe, for example. Where is it? Right here. I could even throw this into Vizcom.ai, right? After a little photoshopping, and then say create something. Right. So I'm gonna open up Photoshop here in the background of my PC while I still work on this. Even the other sketch here, I might say, okay, I can see where my experience is telling me, my experience is telling me, hey, this needs to be a little bit wider. So now I'm going to create a transform. What just happened? I'm going to create a transform and I'm going to do warp. And I'm just going to pull this into where I want it to be. Just like so. And then we can come back to our sketch and now make some tweaks, maybe modify as well. Maybe okay, I'm going to move that over. All right. So you can work in conjunction with the tool. At first, like I said, I was freaked out. I was like, "Oh my gosh. This is it. This is the end. This is where we all get replaced." But I don't think it's that simple. Not now anyways. Maybe at some point, but not now. Also, the things that and I had the opportunity to have a conversation with Scott Robertson. I don't know if you know who he is, but he wrote the book How to Draw and How to Render. And I got to interview him as a part of this conference that I was speaking at. And we talked about these AI tools and whatnot, and he kind of stressed the importance of traditional skills, not because he's not someone who doesn't embrace new technology, because he's always been curious about new technology and what that means and all that. But more so, unless you understand the fundamentals, you're not even going to be able to see what's wrong. You'll just be like, oh, that's cool. I don't know how to fix it, so I'm going to keep playing. When you might be sitting on an idea that absolutely could be used for something, and you're like, nah, I'll just pass. All right, let's switch to screen share here. Like I said, this is a little bit different of a stream than I normally would do. Let's go. I'm just gonna go ahead and erase what I don't need in the background, because I wouldn't do this and show this to an executive and be like, yo, here it is. And then let's go select subject. It's gonna select the shoe, most likely. Yep. I'm gonna put that on a new layer, and I'm gonna make the background white. Merge this down, and there's a lot of stuff you can do with Photoshop. You know, like if I wanted to take the time and make some selections, for example, like say, you know, this lace, I'm like, I don't want to have to re-render that. Then we can always transform and warp and place this wherever you want. So if you want to do the Photoshop work to modify this rendering, you can absolutely do that. Oh, why does it keep doing that? You can absolutely do that. But I'm just gonna save this image, and now I'm gonna bump it back over to my laptop, mostly because running this on my desktop right now is just not great. Okay. So in the meantime, we'll stare at my iPad here, and I'll send this over. I'm gonna run it in the background, and let's see what it comes up with. Can I drag this over? Yep, I can. Very cool. All right, so I dragged and dropped that over onto my laptop. This is why I love Apple. All right, I'm gonna go back to image here, and let's change this. All right, and I'm going to, let's see if I can find that prompt again. That's the tricky part, is you gotta find the prompt. Hey Isaac, we're just playing with AI art. Like the guy who trained AI art to draw him like Kim Jong-un. Oh, that's yeah, that's not cool. That's not cool. Right now, there are artists who didn't consent on their art to be fed to AI, and they're furious. That's interesting. If you have a link, I'd love to read the story about that and kind of see what's happening there. That is really fascinating. How am I catching the footage on my iPad? I have a little dongle. If you really want to see it, I can show you here with my over shoulder camera. So I have this little dongle hooked up to my iPad here. That's how I do it. Great question though. How am I creating those images with AI? So you type text into the program. I showed a little bit earlier in the stream. So if you missed that bit, and then once you throw it into the AI program, or throw the text in, you get an image, and you can put that image back into another AI program to then have it make some changes. So here on my laptop, you can't see it right now because I don't have a way of I mean, I could, I'm just not set up for it right now. So I'm just gonna run this in the background. Okay. And I'm taking the image that I showed you in Photoshop right now. My laptop is running it. It's running an app called Diffusion B, and Diffusion B is using that image. What just happened? I swear. This computer's driving me crazy today. All right, thanks, Adriana. So Diffusion B is going to take this image and process it, which it's doing right now. Again, you can't see it, but my M1 Pro laptop is cranking away. This Diffusion B that I showed you will also run on it'll also run, is there minimize? Yeah, there we go. Nope, that's Midjourney. I have no idea what this is. Okay. Diffusion B. It'll also run on a MacBook Air, which is what I was trying to say. Sorry, it took me a while to say that. So if you have an Apple computer, you can download and run it right there. That Adidas Street shoe is similar to Bo Jackson trainers. Yeah, it definitely has that vibe, that feel. Remember, these systems are pulling from the wealth of human knowledge and things that we've put out. So it's not like it's going to necessarily come up with something that isn't influenced by or inspired by something else. All right, this one came out interesting. It's almost like a little bit of a sketch look to it. I'll show you in just a sec here, if it'll let me do it. All right, let's see if it does it here. All right. So this is a low res version, but I plugged this initial shoe that someone said looks like the Bo Jackson trainers and came up with this. So another interesting possibility is even taking a sketch like this one and then saying, you know what, I'm going to overlay the two, right? And just, I don't know, just see what you come up with. Maybe you can sketch over this and pull some lines from both of these and it becomes more interesting. Maybe the way the tooling is shaped on this one could help you make some design decisions. So that's why I see this as less of a final idea generation tool and more of a like, what if, what is there something I'm not thinking about, right? I do wish it listed a bit of the source material, because I think if you're going to this and you don't have any sort of like justification or perspective or inspiration moving into it, then you're kind of just pulling stuff out of nowhere, it might feel like. So I do wish it listed a source or gave you at least I'm going to generate this again. Gave you at least some idea of where the stuff came from. So once again, I think, and we took a look at Vizcom.ai, which is what we used to generate the initial car sketch. I think it's running in the background here still. All right, so this BMW sketch that you see here, the one represented, right, with all this color and highlights and stuff, like, I don't know if you understand how difficult it is to sketch a car, but having at least a reference for highlights and shadows, super, super, super helpful. But this really started with this little doodle, right? So I did this doodle. We came up with this image here. I got to talk to the people at Vizcom and be like, I need a way to like really preview stuff. So we came up with a couple like weird things like this, and then I ran it through another AI system, and the other AI system said, yo, here's what you get this guy, and then I sketched over it. So you can kind of see, hopefully, how you can like work in different systems, different processes to come up with different things. I've seen some incredible outcomes with product design if you get really good at your prompts, meaning the words that you use to create those inputs. I've seen some pretty incredible results, particularly from Scott Robertson. He says he has thousands of images that he's generated to come up with different concepts. So All right, I'm going to wrap there for today. If you have any questions, be sure to drop them in the comments on the video. I'd love to answer them in subsequent videos. We'll do this again. I know this wasn't specifically sci-fi, but I would love to do that with you as well. Maybe even play with fashion like I told Lori, or if there's other things that you're interested in, we can generate and combine that with our sketch skills and sketch tools to see what we come up with. And again, that's just how I see these tools fitting into my workflow. Even to the point where a lot of ideation that you do as a designer, you might do that up front, and then you might ask yourself, am I not thinking of something else? Run your thought process through the AI tool and ask yourself and see like, oh, wow, I totally missed out on this, or I totally missed out on that, or whatever. And then turn that into another flow of consciousness. Like that's, to me, that's the really exciting part, is what is it I'm incapable or hadn't considered about my own process. And yes, a lot of this has to do with aesthetics, because functionality is something that we have to make judgments and inferences on based on research, and we're not quite there with AI tools to say design a product that does X for this. Like, as far as I know, it's not going to do that in a way that is feasible, viable, manufacturable, and just makes sense, right? But it can be a wonderful, wonderful tool for fostering your innovation and challenging your perspective and showing you things that you might not have thought of before. So thanks for hanging out with me. This was super fun. I'm glad I got to show you some of these tools. I'm going to keep digging in myself. Like I said, I'm playing with Gravity Sketch right now. I'm not ready to show all of that stuff yet because I'm still learning, but I've been spending a few hours in the headset playing with these tools as well. And I want to share that with you. I want you to be on that journey with me. And so I appreciate you being here and hanging out. Thanks and shout out to our patrons and channel members. I appreciate your support. Much love to you always. Let me know if you ever need anything. Happy to respond and be there for you as well. And thanks to those who watch the show. If you can do me a favor, if you do have questions, definitely drop a comment. If you hated the show, drop a comment. And if you love the show, drop a comment. That certainly helps the video bubble up to the top in the listings here on YouTube. So much love to you. Happy Sunday. You take care now. And with that, remember, passion is the process. If you learned something today, play with it, be good at it, and then teach someone, because it's going to make you even better at that thing. All right. Well, take care, and I'll see you next time right here on Sketch A Day. Peace.